Hi everyone and welcome to emediacoach.com, the channel that helps you make an amazing WordPress website. And today we're going to help you create a website with WordPress using the Enfold theme. And we're going to do something a little bit groundbreaking. We're going to show you how to make this website right here, our own eMedia Coach website, because we in fact use the Enfold theme. And check this out guys, just to get you excited about the possibilities of the Enfold theme. I've created this new module in about 3 minutes, and all I've done is added a YouTube video as the background. I have saved and updated that, and now check out the website. That is fantastic, and that just gives you an idea of what is possible with the Enfold theme. A beautiful video dynamic header. You can do basically anything you want, but more about that a little later in this tutorial. And just in case you are unsure, yes, the website by default will be 100% mobile responsive, as you can see there. Now, in case you're not familiar with the Enfold theme, I've just opened up one of their demo websites, and you can basically import one of these at a click of a button. I'm going to show you how to do this later on, and it looks very, very cool. And just for purposes of a demonstration, I'm going to show you a few of the elements that Enfold allows you to add to the page. Sliders like this. Animated numbers, and we're going to add some of these on our page later on. Buttons of any shape and size. Image galleries. Google Maps so that people can find you very easily. Images with hotspots, like that, which I find very, very cool when demonstrating a product. And there are a bunch of other things, some of which we're going to go through and some of which we're not, but I'm going to give you all of the skills you need so that you can add any content type that you want to any page on your WordPress website. And as you can see, it's all pretty cool. And the impressive thing is that you can actually import a lot of this stuff automatically with a few clicks of the button when we actually import the demo content in one of the next steps. So here are the 5 high-level steps that this tutorial will cover. And if you have any of these steps already done, then just look in the description below and you'll be able to find a link or a timestamp to skip to that section in this tutorial, so you don't have to watch the sections which you've already covered. For example, first we're going to get you online. That is getting your web hosting so that you're live on the internet, as well as a website address. Second, we're going to install WordPress. Then we're going to get the Enfold theme. Then I'm going to show you how to set up our homepage, our entire homepage. And then we're going to set up other pages and custom functionalities. Now, if you've done any one of these steps already, for example, if you've already gotten online with your own domain and already installed WordPress, then just skip to the relevant step. I'll put the timestamps in the description below. So to make a website with WordPress with the Enfold theme, the first thing we need to do for most of you will be to get online. Let's do that now. Okay, so getting online involves 2 things. Firstly, it involves getting a website domain. For example, in our case, it's emediacoach.com. That is the address of your website on the internet. Secondly, you need to get web hosting. And this is where all of the files are stored on the internet. Without web hosting, if you go to your domain, nothing would appear. It's what makes your website publicly accessible 24/7. So we need to get these 2 things. They're the 2 basic essentials to running any website. And to do that, I'll show you the quickest and easiest way that I've been using for about 14 years, since about 2004. And that is, if you look in the description below, you'll see a link to this URL over here, hostgator.com/discounted. Just click on that link in the description below, and you'll land on the HostGator homepage. HostGator are one of the world's leading web hosting companies, And I've been using them ever since I started with my own websites, and I now use them for my own business websites, like the one you're looking at right now, that one there, and a bunch of other e-commerce sites. They've got great support 24/7 and a dedicated customer login, as well as live chat if you come across any issues. So if you just go to the web hosting link here, all we need is a basic shared web hosting plan, and that's the core essential to starting a website. Two plans we're concerned with is the hatchling and the baby. The hatchling just allows a single domain, so if it's your first website, that's the one you would choose. It's also the cheapest. A baby plan is the same as a hatchling, except you can add more websites to your hosting account if you want to. You can always upgrade in the future, so don't stress too much if it's your first. If you clicked on the link in the description and went to that URL, hostgator.com/discounted, you'll see a few discounts here, but I'm going to show you how to get an even bigger discount. So if you go down the page and in the coupon code, type in discounted, DISCOUNTED, click validate, and you will go back up and see that there are a whole range of discounts to choose from. So take advantage of that discount code. The more you subscribe for upfront, so for example, a longer plan of 12 or 24 months is obviously cheaper per month. That's how most things work. My hosting account gets renewed every 2 or 3 years, depending on which hosting account it is. So it's literally a few dollars a month, which is peanuts when it comes to your own website and the money that your website is going to generate for you. If you don't want to do that, there's also a discount code to get you the 1 month or the first month for free, but the rest will be at the regular cost of about $9 per month. But if you want to do that, the discount code is 1 dirty cent. So you can see that their first month is just 1 cent, essentially for free, but the rest will be at a much higher rate. So what I'd suggest is, if you're serious about your website, just subscribe for at least a year or 2 years, lock in a good rate. You can always refund if you're not happy with their service. They've got a 90-day refund policy, I believe. So all you need to do is enter a domain name. Now we've already registered our domain name, eMedia Coach, so I'm going to enter that in here. But what you need to do, well, most people will need to do watching this tutorial, is enter their requested business domain name here. If it's available, it will say it's available. And if it's unavailable, it will also say that. So let's take this for example. It will be yourbusinessname.com. It will say added to cart if it's available. You've also got .net to choose from and .org. They're the main domain extensions, .com, .net and .org, but you can really choose any domain you want. .online, .tech, it's all the same. It doesn't matter. In the process of setting up your website, it's all the same. So once you've done that, just scroll down the page, ensure you've selected the package that you're after, enter a username, enter a security pin, then go down to your billing info and just enter your billing details, and you'll receive a confirmation email in the next 5 to 10 minutes with your brand new hosting account ready to move on to the next step. And it gets easier and more fun as we go along, because we're going to be installing WordPress and installing the theme and setting it all up. So just get this bit out of the way. I'm just going to blur my screen and pause this tutorial while I enter all of this out. Okay, that's all done, and I'm just going to enter my credit card details here, or you can use PayPal. Once you've done that, scroll down the page, deselect any of the additional services. These are all upsells and you don't need any of them. You can actually do everything here without the need to purchase an upsell. So it's completely up to you, but I personally don't use any of these upsells myself. You can still get your own email account with whatever you want, your name at yourwebsitedomain.com. You don't need this upsell, for example. You can already back up your site. You don't need this upsell. Go down and just confirm your order. After you've used the discount code discounted, you'll notice that your order total is less than it was when you started. So just confirm that, scroll down, click the checkbox and click on checkout now, and we'll go to the next step. Alrighty, so we've opened our web account to get online. We've got our web domain and web hosting, which means we've done this step. Next, we're going to get an email from HostGator. After you complete your account registration, you'll receive an email from HostGator, and what you need to do is log in to your control panel. So click on that link there, enter your username and password over here, and we need to do the next step, which is install WordPress. So let's do that right now. So here we are, we're into our cPanel. You won't use this much during the course of this tutorial. All we really need it for is to install the WordPress platform so we can start building our WordPress website. So if you see this link here, build a new WordPress website, click on that. Otherwise, scroll down and look for quick install and click on that. Then after you've done that, click on WordPress. And here we'll be able to install WordPress for free. Don't use any of these options here. We're going to do it all ourselves, and you don't need any of these upsells. It's completely free to install the WordPress platform. In this box here, the domain that you've registered in the previous step, so yourbusinessname.com, whatever that was, should automatically appear. If it doesn't, just select it from the drop-down list. So I'm going to select the domain that I'm going to use for the purposes of this tutorial. In this box here, leave that blank. We want to install WordPress on that domain, on yourbusinessname.com. I'm just using this as a demo, so ignore that. Leave this directory blank, click next. Enter your website title and enter an admin username, your first name and last name, and also your email address. This email address is important because you'll receive your new WordPress login details to that email address if you lose them in the next step. Make sure both these checkboxes are selected and then click install, and it will install WordPress to your web domain. It might take about a minute or two. Okay, that's all done. It's installed to your domain. That is your username and password for the next step. So what you need to do is just copy that URL there. It'll be your URL /wp-admin. And that is the login screen for your website anytime you want to access the WordPress dashboard. So what I would suggest is to write down whatever your domain is /wp-admin. Put that down on a notepad. Write this username and password down on a notepad. That password is just temporary before we change that in the next step. But anytime now you want to log in to your WordPress dashboard, use that there. Now when you go to that URL, you should see a WordPress login box. For a lot of you, that won't happen and you'll get an error page. That is for one of two reasons. If you don't see the screen, firstly, contact HostGator and tell them to activate your domain. Another reason could be that you've purchased your web domain, for example, eMedia Coach, from another web registrar, and you need to connect your your domain to your hosting. So all you need to do is change the name server. It sounds complicated, but it really isn't. All you need to do is tell the domain to point to your hosting, and we've got some information on that on our eMedia Coach website. So if you go to the eMedia Coach site, go to the FAQs, and you'll see some stuff there. How do I connect my domain to my hosting? So use that information. Other times, everything could be okay, but it sometimes just takes 1 hour or so to activate once you install WordPress. So a lot of times I need to just wait an hour before I go to this screen here, and I'll be able to see the box. So there are 3 ways to troubleshoot if you don't see this login page. So once you get to this login page, all you need to do is enter the username and password that WordPress has given you when you installed WordPress. We're going to change the password in the next step, so don't worry. There we go. We are now into our WordPress dashboard, and this is the engine behind the setup of our entire WordPress website, including the setup with Enfold. Believe it or not, if you go to your website URL, you'll notice that it's live to the public. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but this is just the base WordPress installation. We've installed the WordPress CMS, and now we're going to make a WordPress website with Enfold step by step, and the fun part begins here. The first thing to do, however, is to just go to settings and just go to users. In fact, hover over that and go to all users. I want you just to change the password so that you can change it to something more memorable. So click on generate password down the screen there. Enter your new password. Check that tick mark over there if you need to, and update your profile. Now, when you access your login page, just for the purposes of clarity, you'll enter your username, your same username, and your new password. And that there will currently updates whatever your new password is there. So they are now your login details to get into your WordPress dashboard anytime you need to make edits or changes to create your website. So now we've successfully installed WordPress. That step is done as well. Before we get Enfold, we're going to do something else. We're going to make sure that our WordPress installation is clean and free of all the clutter that we're seeing right now. Right now, there are a whole bunch of plugins and other things activated, and it's really going to affect the cleanliness of your website. So we're going to do some simple website config and cleaning up to start with before we install the Enfold theme. Firstly, go to plugins, hover over that, and go to installed plugins. You're going to see, if you scroll down, a number of plugins that have been installed by default as a result of you installing WordPress. This is all a little bit of bloat, and we don't need any of this stuff. So click on that checkbox there. So it selects all of them, select all, and then click on deactivate. After that's all been deactivated, select all again, and then delete. And yes, we want to delete all of those plugins. Don't worry about accidentally deleting anything you don't need. Nothing is set in stone, but just believe me when I say you don't need any of that stuff. Then go to posts and all posts and delete any of the default posts that exist. So click on the trash button and then go to the trash can, and you want to delete that permanently. And then go to pages and all pages and do the same for any of the pages that have been set up by default, such as a sample page. Okay, very good. Next, we're going to go into settings and go to the General tab. Here you can actually update your website title. Here you can enter a tagline if you would like to. And then you can enter or change the email address if you would like a different email address to be your admin email. For example, if you forget your password. Any changes you make, just go down and click on Save Changes. Go to the Reading tab. Make sure that this checkbox here is deselected, you do want search engines to find your website. Then go to the Permalinks tab. This custom structure right here doesn't work and is not best practice. So when you create a new post, what it's saying is give that post or page a URL of whatever the index PHP is, / the year, month, day that you made it. So we don't want any of that garbage. What you want to do is click on category first and then click on post name. So what that does is when you create a new post on your website, it gives it a URL structure that's very clean. It'll be your website / the category that post belongs in / the name of that post. So it's very good for search engines as well as human users. Go down and click save. And then go to privacy. I think that all looks fine. If you notice that your website is not actually published to the real world, to the public, so if you log out of your website and you see that you cannot access it because it's a website coming soon page, you just need to make sure that you look out for that. When you go to your dashboard, you should see something saying your website is under construction. It's in the under construction mode, and disable that so that your website can be indexed by search engines from the start. So that's all we have to do in terms of some basic site config. Next, we're going to install the Enfold theme. Alright guys, so the next step to create our WordPress website is to install the Enfold WordPress theme. What I need you to do is click on the link in the description. And the reason for that is that when you go to Theme Forest, which is where all the themes are available for sale, there are a couple of different versions of Enfold. There's one that's specifically for WordPress, as we can see here, WordPress, but there's also one that's not for WordPress. So I want to make sure that you've got the right theme. So make sure you click on that link. It should take you directly to this page. I've already signed in for Theme Forest or Envato, whatever it's called. So I've created an account already. I'm signed in. I just need to go to this page and purchase a regular license. So I'll add that to cart. I'll go to the checkout and I'll follow those steps through to the checkout. Once you've done that, in the drop-down menu up here, go to the download section. You'll see an area for Enfold. I've purchased quite a few themes in the past, but look for your Enfold download button. Click on that download button. We don't want all the files and documentation at the moment. We just want the installable WordPress file only. So click on that. That will prompt you to save that file to your computer. So I'm going to save it somewhere that I can easily access, for example, my desktop, and click on save. Just remember where you saved it, because in the next step we're going to need to upload that file to WordPress. So that's all we need to do to get Enfold. It was very, very easy. Just go to that link, purchase Enfold, download the WordPress installable file only to your computer. Now, go back into your dashboard, go to Appearance, hover over Appearance and go to Themes. Click on Add New Theme. Typically you're able to search for themes here and search for any theme that you want to use to make your WordPress website, but we're going to be uploading that file that we just downloaded. So click on the Browse button, scroll through and find that file, that Theme Forest Enfold zip file. Double click on that, should be that thing there, and then Install Now. What this is going to do is install the Enfold theme to your website. This can take a few minutes depending on how fast your internet connection is. So for me, it usually takes between 3 and 4 minutes. When that's all done, just click on the Activate button and that will activate Enfold. There we go. Enfold has been activated. Now if I go to my website's domain, I can see that that has taken effect. It hasn't obviously been set up, But in the next couple of steps, we're going to go leaps and bounds, and we're going to install one of the Enfold's pre-made demo sites to make the process easy for us. And I'm going to show you how to use the various elements here to configure your website with Enfold, and it makes it super easy to do that. So that's all in terms of installing Enfold. Now that we've successfully installed Enfold to our WordPress website, we need to now make this process easy, and what we're going to do is import one of their pre-built demos, and that's going to do a lot of the configuration for us without us having to do it ourselves. So if you go into your dashboard and just click on Enfold if you're not there already, then if you scroll down and go to the demo import section, you're actually able to import a range of pre-built demos that Enfold offers directly to your website. And you can see the demos by clicking on these links over here. So I'll just open up a couple of them for example. So you're able to import this entire demo yourself and then update the content or add and remove modules just as you need them. And it makes the website creation process extremely easy. But the one we're going to import, if you scroll down, is this one here. It's the landing demo page, and it's the one that I find easy to configure once it's been imported. So you can choose any one of these pre-built themes or demos, I should say. Don't worry, you can choose any one of these. If one looks just the way you like and you can scroll through them, import that one and then just configure it module by module, and you'll get those skills a little later in this tutorial to know how to update modules. But if any one of these looks like the website that you want, go for it, don't hold back. But we're going to install this one here, the landing page demo. So click on import, and it will take a few minutes. Sometimes once you import this demo or one of the demos, it says that it's done, but when you go to your website, you might have to refresh it a couple of times for you to see it. If it still doesn't look right, just click on the import button again and try that process again. So let's wait a few minutes. Alright, so it said that it's been successful. Let's just go to our website to check. And you might have to press Control and F5 or Command or whatever the refresh button is if you're a Mac to refresh your page to make sure it's taken effect. And there is now our website. You should see now that demo being imported and publicly viewable on your website domain, and that's pretty amazing. Like I said, this is where the fun part begins, and we've just gone leaps and bounds in terms of making our WordPress website. If at any time this tutorial is helping you, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified of any new videos. Any questions at any point in this tutorial, just ask them in the comments below. So now I'm going to spend the rest of this video giving you the skills that you need to customize your website in any way you want. Alright, so let's start setting up the homepage of our WordPress website. And what we're going to do first is I'm just going to take you through some of these general Enfold theme options. So if you go to Enfold and the first tab up here, you'll notice that the front page is the landing page, which is correct, or you can select another page to be your home page when you create more pages. You can select if you have a blog down the track where you want to display the blog. You can add your logo here, and I'll do that a little later. Actually, I may as well do it now. Let's click upload. You can choose a file from your computer. That will upload it to the media library, and you can use that image. And anytime you make an update, just make sure you click on the Save All Changes button at the bottom, and there's also a button at the top. Now if we skip to the General Layout tab, you can configure how you want your website to be laid out, and I'd recommend the stretched layout as opposed to the boxed or the fixed frame, but you can actually click on them and just refresh your site to see what that looks like if you want to look at the other layouts. you can select where you want your logo and main menu to appear. At the moment we want it at the top header. General Styling tab, this one's the one that is a little bit fiddly. There are a range of options when it comes to colors. For example, the background color of where your logo or heading menu area is, the main font color, the highlight font color, your main content color, secondary content color, that's alternate content color, footer text color. So these sections are a little bit fiddly and it may take a bit of trial and error, but I'm going to eventually just use all of the numbers, all of the colors, the exact colors that I use for my eMedia Coach site, because that's the one that I want to try and recreate for this demonstration. And at the last, on the last tab over here, you can actually select the font that you want to use for your website. So all I'm trying to say is that pretty much everything you see in terms of colors, fonts, background colors, text colors, everything is configurable. Advanced styling, if you want to have a different style applied, for example, if you want a H1 heading, which is your main headings, to be a certain font color, I've got to select edit element, but once I do that, if I want it to be a particular font color, a particular font size, you can customize all of that stuff as well if you don't want to use the default values. I won't do that right now. Main menu, you can configure how you want your main menu to display for desktop as well as for mobile. And the burger menu, which is basically this menu up here. This is called the hamburger menu. The header is the top part of your website, and here you can configure the way you want your menu area displayed. So for example, at the moment, it only displays when I scroll down, but it doesn't display when I'm at the top there. But you can configure all of that stuff over here. Header behavior, that's the one there. A sticky header is a header that stays with your page whenever you scroll down the page. So I'm going to configure all of that eventually. Sidebar settings, we'll look at that later. Social profiles. Anytime you want to enter social profiles on your website, there is a social module that you can use through Enfold, and all you need to do is configure your social media URLs over here. Once you enter them over here, you just need to add that social module on the page where you want it to appear. That will be one of the modules that you'll see later, and it will just reflect everything in this section here. Google services, you can add any Google Analytics tracking code here. And that's most of the stuff that we're going to use throughout this tutorial. One thing I forgot to mention is, see at the moment the logo is indented quite a bit and the social media ends about there. So it's wasting a lot of the space on the screen and it's very skinny at the moment, the site. So what you need to do is go into your Enfold general layout, go into dimensions, and at the bottom here, content plus sidebar width. Make that 100%. Save changes. That's a very important step and it will add massive amount of space onto your web page. Just like that. And now you can see it's using up the entire screen rather than just a smaller section, so it's easier for your users. So a very small but important step right there. Alright, so the first thing we'll do is adjust the top header area over here for our website. So at the moment it only appears when we're scrolling down, but we don't want that, for example. To update that, what you need to do is edit this front page. So you can click here, or you can go to Pages and All Pages and click on that landing page there, which has been installed by default when you installed the demo content. When you're on that page, scroll down and look for Layout. Then scroll down, go to Header Visibility and Transparency. At the moment it's set to that there, but we want to set it, for example, to no transparency. Whenever you make changes, click on the Update button over here. And then you can actually go and refresh your website to make sure that that has taken effect. So there you go, as you can see now, it's there regardless of if you're scrolling down or not. Now go back into Enfold and go to the header area, the header tab. Let's give this header a custom height. So at the moment it looks a bit squashed, so let's change that from 60 to perhaps 75. Or you can enter a size such as slim, large, and what we've done there, a custom value. So you've got various things to choose from, and it's all a little bit of trial and error. So various stages during this tutorial, I'm going to click the save button and then refresh the website just so you can see any of the changes that have taken effect. So I think that looks pretty cool. It's giving the header a bit of space and it stays there when you scroll. Now if you go to header behavior, currently sticky header is checked. If you deselect that, what happens is when you scroll down the page, the header disappears up like that. It doesn't stick to the top of the page. So I recommend a sticky header. It's much better for user experience. Let me save changes. Extra elements you may want to add. You can add some social icons and you can display that in the main header area. Or you can select no social icons. That's these over here. If you select no social icons, they obviously won't appear in this area here. You can also add a secondary menu that's over here, and you can say that's in the top bar at the right, for example, and you can display phone number or extra information as well. Just to give you an example, this could come in handy for a lot of you out there who are creating this website for a small business. That's what that looks like. And just to be super clear, this black bar you're seeing here won't be seen by your users. That's purely for you because you're logged into WordPress. So ignore that black bar at any time. Your users will never see that. So that's that top bar that we've activated. You can choose to have that, or you can choose not to have that. Thirdly, we want to adjust perhaps the colors behind this menu. So I'm going to go into the general styling area. And all I'm going to do here is copy and paste the colors that I've already set up for our website, our eMedia Coach website. And you can obviously tweak these in any way you want. So the logo area background color is the background to this particular area here. So I'm going to make that this color over here. Now all of these numbers and letters you see here correspond to a particular color. It's known as a hex code. So whenever you choose a color, it's got a specific hex code assigned to it. And so I'm just going to use the ones that I've got currently to make it easier. But you can use this color picker over here to select any color you want for any one of these elements on your WordPress website. Okay, so that's very close to white. The primary color that I've got is a green, so I'm going to enter that. That's used for links when you bold something and other elements such as buttons, I believe. The logo area font color, I'm going to use something that's very close to black. And that is the color of our items in the logo over here. Right now they're a bit gray, so I'm going to make that black. Then the logo area heading color, that's going to be black. I'm going to select a highlight color. I'm going to add a secondary logo color. And I'm getting all of these colors from another screen that I've got here. So don't worry too much. I did take about half an hour of trial and error to get all of this right. So don't stress too much if yours doesn't look the way you want, or if you're taking some time to figure out what these colors correspond to. It is a little bit of practice, and once you look at this screen and use this screen for a while, you'll understand what or each one of these items relate to on your website. So I'll save that for now and refresh the site. So there we've got that green. Okay, looks a bit better. Now the main content color. This relates to the text on your website, the headings on your website, and also the text of something called your secondary contact area. Your secondary area is, well, let me first start with your primary area. Your primary area is the background white with dark text, and your secondary content area is usually a darker background with light text so that it contrasts. So these are the settings for your main content, which is the primary area, and these are the color settings for your alternate content, which is your alternate color area. So as you can see, the alternate content, you've got this background color, that's this over here, with this alternate content font color, that's your text color, and that's that gray over there. So you can leave that as is, or you can muck around with that as you like. And this is the main content background color. So the background is white and the font color is nearly a black. So these are the main two things that you're concerned with, that there and this here. So my main content font color, I'm going to make nearly black, but not black, as you can see with the color picker over here. The primary color, I'm also going to make that green. The main heading color, I want to make closer to a black. Don't worry about these numbers and don't worry about understanding these numbers. It's a little confusing if you don't know how these hex codes work. So I suggest just sticking to the color picker when in doubt, or just copy the numbers that I'm putting in your website will turn out pretty good. That one's okay. The highlight color I'll change to that color there, the same as the primary color. The main content secondary font color, change to that, leave that as it is, save all changes. And now I'm going to go to alternate content. I'm going to make my alternate content a green. And to give you an example, this is the alternate content now. But this is what we're trying to get to. This green background here, that's our alternate content area. So that's what that green over here is. That's fine. Because that's green, we want white text, so it contrasts against the green background. And I'm just copying this again from a screen that I've got, so no, I don't know all of these off by heart. But feel free to copy the combinations that I'm putting in. I have no problem with that. Okay, we're going to add some quick CSS later on, and that's going to allow us to customize the way in which this top area works, for example, or looks, so that it looks more like this, if that's what you want. So that's done there. Here's an example, it's a preview. I'll save those changes. And now to the footer. The font color for the footer. Oh, and I should explain, the footer is this area down here. It's the bottom of your website. Actually, we can't see it at the moment. It's this here. We will see it when we eventually add that. Okay, and last but not least, what I'm going to do is update the fonts. Now, these fonts that the site uses right now are actually really, really good. There's no problem with them whatsoever, but you've got the flexibility to change the fonts to make them whatever you like. So for example, instead of this one, I'll use this one here. Default content font size, you can make that bigger or smaller, whatever you like. And all the rest looks okay. So now you can see that the alternate color has changed. Now that we've made some of those changes, we want to increase the font size of our top menu over here. To do that, just go back into your dashboard and go to Advanced Styling. What we want to do is click on H1. Actually, click on Main Menu Links. That's the right one, the Main Menu Links. Edit Element. You can select a particular font color if you would like that. Let's say we don't want the green, which has been selected previously through our General Styling tab, but say we want it to be close to black. We can do that. We can also select a font size, and I will probably go with 17 pixels. You can also choose a different font family if you would like to. So I'm going to go with Open Sans, and various other options if you would like to. For example, making them all uppercase or lowercase, etc., etc. Now you can also apply these to a mouse hover state or only to an active state. So for example, if I select that, these settings will only apply when my mouse hovers over the words. However, I want this to appear at all times. So let's do that. Save all changes. So there we go, the writing's bigger and that is a lot more clear. Now, how do we change this over here? Later on, we'll talk about customizing your menu, but if you go to Appearance and Menus, you'll see there is a menu item for Sign Me Up, and the menu style is the colored style. So this default style is a normal menu item, just like this, whereas the colored style is this box, and the bordered style, if I save that, looks like that, and that looks pretty cool as well. So we'll talk about customizing our menu later in the tutorial when we've added new pages, but I hope that gave you a good idea of how to customize your header area over here on your new WordPress website. Next, I want to show you how we created this amazing looking hero area on our website using Enfold. And now this is the part of the tutorial where we're going to start teaching you how to use or add various modules onto your page in any kind of configuration that you want. And we're going to give you the knowledge and experience that you need to do this, and it's going to be very, very easy, and you'll see this in a second. So let's start with creating this over here. So back into our dashboard, let's go to Pages and All Pages. And we'll actually use the landing page, so let's click on that. What you're seeing here is your current home page. You're seeing that reflected in very easy to use modules. If you like any of those, what you can do is actually click on the copy buttons, or you can click on the cross to delete any one of those, etc., etc. So I'm going to get rid of all of that. Actually, I might leave it just for the time being. What you need to do now to set up your hero is, for any new module, you need to drag and drop in the Layout Elements tab, the color section. Drag and drop that to your top of your screen, so you see that there. If you accidentally drop it somewhere else, that's okay. For example, you can always drag it back to where you need it. Then what we're going to do is add two columns, And let's say we want them to be a half and half. Let's say this is taking up half the width and this is taking up half the width of the page. So let's add a half column. You can change that at any time by increasing or decreasing the width over here. So nothing you do is set in stone. Then let's add another half column over here. This one here, we're going to put some text in, and then the image is going to sit in this column here. So now that we've added our color section, which is the background, we've added the columns. The next thing we need to do is go to the Content Elements tab over here. Here you've got a range of content elements that you can choose from to add into any one of these sections. So for this one, we want to add a title, a divider, text, and a button. So here is the title. It's called the special heading. So let's drag and drop that in there. There's our title. We want to add our divider. It's called a separator. Drag and drop that in there. We want to add text. And we want to add a button. And here it is here. Okay, if you save that right now, it won't look too good, but that's because we haven't configured anything. So that's all it looks like right now. But for the time being, let's also go and add the image here. We don't want to necessarily use the image content element. There is one here somewhere. Media elements, there it is, image. Actually, we can use that, or we can do it another way and add a text block. Click on that text block, delete the text in there and add media, and you'll be able to upload any files from your computer. Like I said before, I'm giving you the tools and experience needed to create any site you want. So all you need to do is learn the process of doing that. And if you watch what I'm doing here, you'll learn the process, the best practice process that we go through to create a website from scratch. And it's perfect for beginners as well, just because of the drag and drop. So I can use that text area to add an image, that text element, or I can delete that and use an image area. They both behave slightly differently, and that's why I say that. You can experiment in your own time. Okay, there it is here. That will upload to your media library where all of your images for your website are stored when you upload them, and then we click on insert. We can choose alignment, etc., etc., styling, and you'll see a preview in this area here. You can also have a hover effect, and in this case, yes, slightly increase the image size or slightly zoom the image like that. And that's completely up to you. So now we've added that image. Let's just refresh our website. Okay, so we can improve on that. But let's now configure this area over here. Click on that module there, the special heading. Add your text. Heading type, make it a H1 because we want it to be the main title. We can select to link that anywhere if you like. And the default style, let's make it left. We want to left align that. You can also edit the size of that title or heading. And also add a subheading, and if you do that you can display it above or below the title and you'll get a box there. Anything you do, you'll be able to see a preview of it in this screen here. So let's save that. Next, this divider. Currently it's just going across the entire page. So let's click on that edit button over here. That's the edit button. This is the delete button. And this button is for you to be able to clone that element. So if you copy it here and want to put it somewhere else, it's very, very easy once you make it. And this one is if you want to save that particular element as a template to reuse on other pages or modules of your site. Just so you know, but let's click on element. You can have a white space separator, but what we're going to do is a custom separator. We want to position this one to the left perhaps, use a fat border, width of 50 pixels is okay. The margins we will leave as default. We don't want an icon on this occasion. We can also select the color, and this one is eventually going to be on a green background, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. So let's make that white so that stands out. The text, we can add all of our text. So I'm just going to copy it from another screen I've got here. But before you do that, this text element over here, it's just like Microsoft Word. You can bold stuff, italic stuff, you can add bullet points, you can center align, left align, add numbered lists. You can do everything you can in Microsoft Word. You can also add links to any other website or page. So you can enter any URL in there and link. Make sure that you're in the visual tab when doing that. If you go to the text tab, you won't see any of that. The text tab is the part of the WordPress text interface where you put any code, such as a YouTube embed video code or any other code, onto your website to appear. It's not the best to visually edit text. It's where all the code sits behind the text that you're editing. So the visual tab is the one that's more user-friendly. So all I'm going to do here is just paste some text I've got from another screen here in the visual tab, and you can put all of your text anywhere you want, in any way you want. Now for the button. Let's click on edit. Let's update this. It's the wording of that particular button. Where do you want a button to link? You can set that. You can set that manually, or if you've already created pages on your website, you can select a page on your current website. But let's say we want to create that manually. And I'm just going to copy our URL. And eventually I just know that we're going to create a page called Make a Website. And of course, you will probably come back and edit all of this stuff after you start creating more content on your website. You can select whether you want the button link to open in the same window for the user or a new user, and choose the size of the button. Similarly, you can align the button left, right, or center. And a few other configuration changes. I probably won't select an icon to display, but you can, and if you want to display an icon, you can just select one from this list over here. So let's do it just for the sake of it. There should be a YouTube one. There it is. Okay. When you've done all that, click Save. So now we've gone ahead and we've configured a few of these elements. So now let's click Update and refresh our website to see what it looks like. So there we go. It looks much better than it was before. Where we do want to get to is a green background, just like our website over here. So the way we do that is actually we go to the color section that we dragged in. So that's the color section. We want to edit that color section. It's the background of that particular module. You can set various things, such as the padding, and that is the space between various color sections on your page. Or perhaps we want to display an arrow that points to the next section of our page. And there is one here. That's an example. So let's do that just as an example. The section background, currently we've got it set to main content, but remember previously I told you about the alternate content and we set the colors for that. So if we simply click on alternate content, that will take on all of those color schemes. Click Save and Update, and then refresh this. And there we are. So now you might want to make a few more tweaks, for example this button. So if we click on the button again, let's say we want to get rid of the icon. We want to change the theme color of this button. Currently it's a solid green, it's a solid color, which is a solid white because we've chosen the alternate theme. But say we want something else, and here is something really cool. If you make it light transparent, it will have a light wire which will be your button, as opposed to dark transparent, it will look like that. So for this scenario we can choose light transparent because it will contrast nicely against the green background. And there it is there. Absolutely perfect. Now say we want to edit this image here to make it bigger. We can go in there, click on that image. You've got a number of different things to choose from. But I think I know what's happened with this image here. When I uploaded the image, it by default selected a smaller size for it. So if I go to the media library again, let's upload the image again. What I forgot to show you was this here, attachment display settings. I don't want it to make the image smaller, I want to be full size. So let's click on full size and then insert and then save. And now when I update, let's wait for that to update and let's refresh our demo website. And the other thing we might do actually is reduce the space in between this divider and the text, because if we look at our proper website right now, there's a less space between those two things. And I've also reduced the size of the button to make it from extra large to just large. It looks a little bit better. So what I might do is show you how to do that quickly. Back in the dashboard, go to the divider area. At the moment the top margin is 30 pixels, so that's that margin there, and the bottom margin is also 30 pixels. So let's make the top margin just 10 pixels and the bottom say 20 and experiment with that. Okay, maybe we'll make the top margin 0 and the bottom 30. We just want it to appear as an underline under, or leave it as 20. We just want it to appear as an underline under the text, under the heading. So that's a little better. It's just a little divider, but it doesn't consume too much space. So there's how to do that. And we've also made the button smaller. Sorry, I didn't do this on the video. I just changed that from XL to a large. So that's that there. And now it's starting to really look like our actual main eMedia Coach website, which is over here. Next, what I want to show you is on our main website, we've got these animated counters over here. So if I refresh the page, I'll just show you what I mean. These animated counter buttons. So I'll show you how to add that. Back into your dashboard, what you need to do is drag and drop another colored section. So let's drag that in and put that under the top section. Then let's go to content elements, and the one we want to use is this one here, animated numbers. But before we do that, we need to add some column boxes. And so say we want to display 4 of them. What I might do is add 1/4 boxes. You can obviously change the size if you would like to, but we're going to add 4, so we want 4 quarters. I can just copy those boxes in there. Then I can go to content elements and drag in these animated numbers. Okay, let's start with that one. Let's click on that. Now what do we want this one for? Let's say we want to demonstrate how many YouTube views we've got. So we can put a number in there. There can be some text if you would like that. We can add an icon in front of the number. So for this it's views, so let's say the I over here. We can add a link if we would want to as well, and click save. And let's update that and just have a look to see what that looks like now. Very, very cool. Let's add a few more. Once again, you can drag and drop these animated numbers down to this box here, or what you could do is copy this one that you've set up. So you can clone that element, drag the cloned one in there, then click on that, and you'll just be able to edit any of the settings. So let's say this one is 99% thumbs up. So let's put 99. We'll have to put we can put the percentage in here as well. As you can see here, add a number here, it will be animated. You can also add non-numerical characters, and these are some valid examples. So 99% thumbs up rating. We want to display an icon, and let's see if there's a thumbs up. There is. Perfect. I'm going to clone that again for the next one. And let's say here we've got 28,800 YouTube subscribers. I can even put a plus icon there. I think that will still work. And we can put let's put that in. Okay, and now the last one. I've actually put a YouTube subscribe button there, and that's done through the YouTube interface. All I've done is actually dragged in a text block over here. I've edited that text block. Let me show you. So this is my real site. I've dragged in a text box, and all I've done is gone to YouTube and pasted the YouTube subscribe code in the text tab over here, not the visual because that wouldn't work. In the text tab, that's all I've done there using a text block. So I can do that, or I can do something else, but may as well just put that in there just to show you. And save. Let's update that and check that out. Absolutely perfect. I think that's pretty slick. Next up, in our real website, we've got this section here with a title, some text, and an image. I've already sort of shown you how to do that over here, so I won't show you how to do that at the moment. All we've done is, again, added in a color section, added a title block, a text block, and an image content block over here. So I'll skip that one, but I'll show you how to add a testimonial. Okay, so with every content module, we need to start with a color section layout element, and just drag and drop that on your page where you want that block to appear. Then we are going to go to content elements, and we're going to select testimonials and drag and drop that into there. Now we can click on the edit button, and we can add our testimonials over here. So by clicking the add button, that's another testimonial that you can add. And to edit a particular testimonial, just click on that over there, enter a name. You can enter a subtitle below the name, and then you actually enter your testimonial itself in the Visual tab as you would in Microsoft Word. You can link to a particular website if you would like to, but I'm not going to do that. You can also add an image of the person that's giving the testimonial. Okay, so we've added one. We can add another. I'm just going to do one quickly for the purposes of this. And I'm just going to find another testimonial just to throw in here. Okay, cool. I'm going to get rid of this third one because you know what to do. Let's click Save. Let's just check out what this looks like right now so we can go through this step by step. Here are our testimonials. So you've got the option of selecting a couple of different layouts. Currently we've got a testimonial grid over here. We can select a slider and you'll be able to see that preview, or we can select a large slider. You can also select the interval between the rotation of each one of the testimonials. So at the moment it's set to 5 seconds. Similarly, the colors, you can change the font colors, and you don't need to use too much of the other settings, but it's basically this one here. How do you want your testimonial to appear? Save that. Now, similarly, we want the background to be a different color. Like on our current live website, we've got this green color over here. Again, the way to do that is to edit the color section that sits behind the module. I'm going to increase the padding to make it very spacious, so there's a lot of space between the modules. Section background, I'm going to choose alternate color and save. Let's see what that looks like now. There we are, and that should auto-rotate every 5 seconds. Perfect. I've got an image for one. I didn't remember to put an image for the second one, but it's completely up to you how you want to set that out. To edit anything, it's as easy as going back into the relevant module and doing what you need to do there. The last thing I'm going to show you how to do on our own homepage is adding these logo sliders over here. They're great if you want to add some social proof to your website, and it's very easy to do. So in the dashboard, I'm going to add another color section and drag that in to where I want that to appear. Then I'm going to add a content element, and it's called a logo partner section. I'm just trying to find it here. Here it is, under media elements, partner logo element. That's the one we want. So I'll just drag that in. Now we can click on that. We can add all the images that we want, and I'm going to upload them from my computer. I'm just going to select all of them, click open, and they'll upload into your media library. There we go. Let's insert those images and save. There they all are. Now if I just update that for the time being, just because I want to see what that has done by default. Okay. So now let's configure that to make it look how we want. Columns, let's have 6 columns. Scaling, we just want them to be small thumbnail styles images. So let's try that. Let's just try this one here. Let's not stretch the image. Let's not display a border. Yes, we want a slider, or we can have a grid. It depends how you want to lay that out. It's up to you. The transition, yes, we can make it slide or we can make it fade. We can display slider controls. Let's display the dot button controls. And let's rotate that every 3 seconds. Okay, let's see what that looks like now. For some reason it isn't auto-rotating. Let me just recheck what I've done there. Okay. Oh yes, the auto-rotation. We want to enable the auto-rotation so it will rotate automatically without the user interacting with that. Let's try that again. Perfect, it's auto-rotating. However, as we can see, some of the logos are getting cut off. So what we'll need to do is adjust the sizing. Instead of selecting the thumbnail size, let's just leave that no scaling, original width and height. There we go, absolutely perfect. Now your WordPress website homepage is basically done. We've given you all the tools that you need to know how to set up various modules on your page. What you can do is, if you like any of the existing default modules that you imported, all you need to do is basically go down there, edit the images, edit the text, anything you need to edit by clicking on those particular areas, and you'll be able to do all of that stuff very easily. But if you don't need it, all you need to do is click on the cross icon over here. You can delete individual elements by clicking that, or you can delete the whole block by clicking that. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Just as an example, and I'll also get rid of this and hit update. And there we are. And now folks, one of my favorite things about this tutorial, and that is how I created this amazing video header over here with a title and a button that just anchors down to the next section of the site, just to show you what's possible with the Enfold WordPress theme. It's very, very easy. Okay, so I'm into my dashboard here now, and what I'm going to do is again start with a new color section. I'm going to drag that to the top. Now the first thing I'm going to do to that color section is I am going to go to the section background and then insert a link to a YouTube video here. Now you can insert a link to a YouTube video, a Vimeo video, basically anything you want. So I'm just going to go to YouTube and look for some sort of a cool looking video that I can add to the site. Okay, so I'm just going to copy the URL of one of these, which I've already done, and I'm just going to insert that video URL over here. And that's now the background video for this entire section. Click Save. Now I'll take you through this bit by bit just so you know the mechanics of how it works. So if I update that as it is, that video has loaded, but it's loading in this tiny little narrow space over here. So what we need to do is a couple of things. But first I'm going to add a title. I'm going to add a special heading. And I'm going to name that special heading Unlimited Possibilities. I'm going to make it a H1 so it stands out, and I'm going to center align that. Perfect. And then after that, I'm now going to go and add a button. You can of course add anything you want in this section. You can even add an opt-in form or a contact form that's aligned to the right hand side. You can do anything you want with this section and add any one of these elements you want. That video is just going to play in the background without any sound. So it's a nice dynamic piece to the website. Okay, let's name the button I'm going to make it a large button. It's aligned to the center. I'm not going to display an icon. And then in the colors, I'm going to give it a light transparent theme so that it's a light transparent wire around the words, and that will contrast nicely against the video. Okay, now if I update that, you'll probably see that the title and button appear, but there's still not enough space, and we also need to change the color of the title. So let's go back in. What we're going to do is add a separator or white space. So I'm going to drag that into here. I'm going to edit that separator. So you can do a number of things. You can make it a short bar, a solid bar as a separator line, or you can just add some white space. So I'm going to do that. Add some white space. I'm going to add 150 pixels at the top above the title, and I'm going to copy that line and then drag that under here. So there's also some white space, or free space I should say, below the button. So now there should be plenty of space above the title and below the button. While I'm here, I'll also update the title color. So colors, I'll choose a custom color and make that white. Perfect. And update. Now let's have a look. Alright, that's just brilliant. Now you can of course link that button anywhere you want, but I'm going to link it so that it sends the user down the page to this section when they click on it. But yeah, you can link it anywhere you want to any URL on your website, externally, do whatever you want, but I'm going to show you how to make it an anchor so it links them to the next section. So I want to link them to this section so that it automatically takes them to this section when they click on the button. So I'll click on that edit and I'll go to, here it is, section layout. Now I've got it in here. This field will probably be blank for you. All you need to do is enter something in there, and I'm going to call it start. Now that exact word, just remember that, click save. Now we've done that for this area here. So what it's going to do now, if we go into the button and we go to set a manual link and put hashtag start, all it's doing is take the user to the section, that word associated with it, save. That section can be used for a few things, but any word you can put in there, it doesn't matter what you put in there, just put hashtag and that word as the link to your button and hit update. Now let's refresh the site and check it out. Okay. That is absolutely brilliant. Perfect. So that just gives you an idea of what you can do. Some people choose to have a little form on the right hand side over here, such as an opt-in form. It's completely up to you how you want to use this area, but I hope that gives you a taste of what's possible. And now suddenly this website is actually not so static, but more dynamic, and it's really appealing for anyone that lands on this page. Now I'm going to show you how to add new pages to your brand new WordPress website, and I'm going to take the example of our live website. We've got a page called Make a Website. That page has this URL here, our website /WordPress website. Then we've got pages that are under or a deeper level to that particular website. So let's take this one for example. That structure is our website / the page we just saw / make a website. So for example, for your new WordPress website, if you've got something called services, for example, and you've got a number of services, you want the structure to be your website / services / whatever service you're offering. And that's the structure you want to take up. And I'm going to show you how to do that. First things first, you need to go to Pages and add a new page. And I'm going to take that example there of services. For now, we're just going to add the page services and click Publish. Okay, so that's got that URL there, your website / services. Now we're going to go and add another new page. So think about your website hierarchy. What products or services or other things do you offer, and what kind of a hierarchy do you want? So under services, perhaps we can add make an e-commerce website. Let's click Publish. But you'll notice that as soon as you do that, the URL is just your website / whatever page it is that you've just created. And you may not want that. It's perfect for things such as your Contact Us page, which will be your website / contact us. But if you want to go one level deeper in terms of your URL hierarchy, what you need to do is just click on that cross over here. You need to go to Page Attributes. Let's say, for example, this page is a child page of the services parent page. So select the parent page and then click Update. And now you'll see the new URL / services / make an e-commerce website. So let's do that again. Let's add new. Actually, I'll update this first. Let's add new. You may have a business that delivers things as one of your services. So let's say widget delivery, publish. But if you want this page to appear as part of your services hierarchy, then you'll just have to go back, go to Page Attributes and select that as your parent page, because this is a child of the parent page, and click Update. And that is how you create brand new pages while you're making your WordPress website. It's important to get that hierarchy correct, because it's great not just for users and human users, but also the search engines. Okay, so the next step to making your WordPress website, you may want to add a page such as a detailed page which contains more detailed information on anything you offer. And I'm going to take this page as an example. I'm going to show you how to create this page with this heading, with this green background, the little arrow that points down, embed a YouTube video, add some text, which should be pretty straightforward to you by now, and then add this thing here, which is called an accordion. So let's do that. Let's go to Pages, and I have already added a new page called Make an e-commerce website. So then I need to go to the Advanced Layout Editor. First, I'd like to make this green section over here with the heading. So what I need to do is add a color section. Then I need to add a special heading. I'm going to edit the color section first. I'm going to give it a large padding, and I'm also going to display a small arrow that points to the next section. Then I'm going to give it the alternate content background. Click Save. Now I'm going to just update that heading that I've inserted. Let's make it a H1 so it stands out, and let's align it to the center. Perfect. Let's update that and check that out. Good stuff. Now I'm going to make this section here. Let's say I want to take up 3/4 of the width with a YouTube embed and then some text. So I'm going to add the color section as per usual. Then I'm going to add a 3/4 section, and then the remainder, which is a 1/4. If your sizes are wrong, you'll notice that it just goes to the next line like that, so you can visually see what fits. Now in this first one here, I'm going to embed a YouTube video. So to do that, I'm going to go to Media Elements and drag video. All I need to do here is enter my video URL. So I'll just go to YouTube and grab one. Okay, let's take that one there. I'll copy that URL and then I'll paste that in here. That's about it. And then in this one, I'm going to simply add some text. So let's get a text block, throw it in there, click on that text block so you can edit. And I'm simply going to add some text from another screen I've got here. Click Save. Let's update that and see what that has done. Absolutely perfect. Next, I can show you how to add 2 columns with text. Very simple, and you should already be able to do this, so I'll do this quickly. What I can even do is copy this entire color section here, if I wanted to. So that will clone that, but I'm going to delete this video module. I'm going to make this module half size, the half width. I'm going to make this a full width. Sorry, another half width, so it adds up to a full width. Get rid of that. Add a text block, add another text block. Here is some text that I'm throwing in just as an example. And the same thing here. So that should be pretty straightforward to you by now. But what I'm going to do after that is, how do I make this background a light gray? So far we've used a white background, which is our main content background, and we've used a green background. But how do I make this light gray so it stands out a little in amongst the other stuff? What I need to do is click on the color section here, edit section, section background. So we can choose from main content or alternate content, but say I want the main content, but all I want to do is select a custom background color. So I can select a very light gray. Let's say that there. And save. Now let's have a look. Perfect. I've got that beautiful gray background now appearing. And if I want the arrow to appear over here, all I need to do is go to the content section above it, the color section above it, click on that, and add a small arrow that points down to the next section. And the same with this one here. There we go, perfect. Last but not least, I'm going to show you how to add this accordion. So let's throw in another color section down the bottom. We want to add a title first, so I'm going to add a special heading. Then we're going to add a divider, and then the accordion. There it is there. And just rearrange the order in which that appears. So let's add a heading here. Make it a H2, a bit bigger. And also change the style so it doesn't have that line. There we go. Now with this separator, I'm going to add a custom separator, make it a fat line with just 10 pixels space at the top, 20 at the bottom. I'm going to get rid of the icon. And also I'm going to align it to the left. Now the accordion, the important part. You can add a new accordion, as many as you want, by clicking the add button there. To edit it, just click on that and you'll be able to edit the title that appears before your user expands the accordion, and then the description which shows up when it's expanded. So let me do that now. And I'm going to add some text as a demonstration. Now you can select if you want accordion to be open by default. I usually leave it at 0 so that nothing's open. You can select whether you want multiple accordions open or you only want it to allow to open one at a time. I like it when there's multiple open just so the user has more control. If you want to change the order in which these accordions appear, just click on the arrow and drag and drop. It's so simple. Let's hit save and check that out. One thing I forgot to do was hit update. When you save, you've also got to hit update so that the page updates. And there we are. There is our accordion. Very, very clean and easy to use. Now I'm going to give you a tip that will literally halve the amount of time it takes you to create a website with the Enfold theme. And that is, how do you save this entire template, for example, and deploy that entire template to another page so that you don't have to build the whole thing by scratch. So let's say this page, for example, you've got a page where you love the template and you need to add a few more pages using the exact same layout. So let's go into this page. Let's click on the edit page. You'll see a little drop down here called templates. All you need to do is click on that drop down and click on save entry as template. Let's click on that and then you've got to give it a name. So let's call it our service detail page. Name it something that you'll be able to identify with, because if you've got a few templates throughout your process of making this website, you'll need to identify what's what. Now all we need to do is go to add a new page. That template is saved. We're now adding a brand new page. And this could be any other service or any other page that you need on your website. You just need to go to templates. We've already saved that template. Now look, it's going to be like magic. This page is currently blank, but now by clicking on this template that we've saved, give it a few seconds, and just like magic, everything has been loaded, and all you need to do here is now start editing or updating the content on your page so that it's relevant, of course. You can add, edit, delete anything you want, and that will basically double, if not triple, the speed at which you're able to create your website with Enfold. So that's a really powerful tool. I tend to have a template for each one of my sections that you'll see over here. So I have actually saved this layout as a template, and anytime I want to add a new make a website video page, all I need to do is load up the template, replace the title, replace the video and the text, and I'm pretty much done. So seriously, it's one of the biggest tips I can give you when using Enfold is to use the save template functionality and reuse that on other pages, and then just start adapting things as required. Alright, so by the time you've created a few pages on your new website, you'll want to be able to adapt and customize the main menu, and perhaps even add a drop-down menu. To do that, go to your dashboard, hover over Appearance and go to Menus. Ensure that the Enfold main menu is selected. What you can do is actually create a brand new menu and customize menus in any way you want, and it's all drag and drop. As you can see here, the structure of this list over here defines what your menu looks like. Now you can add things to your menu in a couple of different ways. Say you've already created some pages on your website that don't currently exist on your menu. So let's take services, for example. We can add that to menu. Let's take these two, for example. We can add that to the menu. Another way to create new menu links is by using custom links. So say we want to add a menu link called home. Let's add our homepage URL and call it home. Add to the menu. Very, very straightforward. But we want that to be the first thing in the list. So if we save that now and refresh, you'll see that the menu takes up a whole lot of space, but it does reflect that list there. But we want a drop-down menu. Say we want services to be the parent item of this thing and this thing here. All we need to do is get these two and indent them under services. And perhaps we want the whole of services to appear after home in the structure. So whenever you indent something like this, it becomes a child or a sub-item of the item above it. And so you could do that for as many as you like. And click Save. There we go. Now a user will be able to hover over that and click on any one of these items. Now we'll adjust the look and feel of these sub-items in a minute. What about this box over here? That's over here. You can make that anything you want, so you can even get rid of that completely. Add a new custom link to any URL that you may have on your site. Let's say it's Start Now. Let's add that to the menu. Let's now give that, that's a normal menu item, by the way. That has no styling or box around it. As you see there. But now if you go down and select a menu style, a colored will be a full colored in box. There we go. And this is that bordered box that we saw before. There we are. To get rid of these items here, in case you missed it earlier on, what you need to do is go to Enfold, go to your header area, and then extra elements. At the moment, we've got the social icons displaying in the main header area. We can completely remove that if we want. And that's how you're able to fully manage that. Now the drop-down. Now this drop-down over here isn't styled the way we want it to be. So what I'm going to do is go back into the dashboard, and we need to go to the advanced styling area. We want to really customize the way in which this looks. What you need to do is, from the drop-down, go to main menu sub-level links. Edit element. Now these customizations over here relate to the main menu links that you're seeing here at the top level. So let's say we want to keep the color the same. So I'm just going to copy that and paste that in there. The font size, we want it to be the same as well. And the font family is not an option at the moment, because that's taken, I believe, from this item over here. So now let's save that. There should be a save button. Here it is. And I'll refresh this site. And there we are. We've been able to edit the way that drop-down menu looks. If this isn't wide enough, there is a bit of custom code that you can input. And I'll put this in the description of the video. I'll link to the page where this tutorial is summarized on our website, and I will actually give you the code to add over here. So all you need to do is go to Enfold, go to General Styling, in the Quick CSS, add this code over here, and I'm going to put this somewhere on my website. So check the description below. It'll be the one-page cheat sheet. I will have this on that page. Once you do that, click on Save Changes. All this is saying is put in some custom code that makes the width of the drop-down menu this wide, so that when a user hovers over that, the text isn't truncated, and that is wider now, as you can see. You can even make that even wider if you need to, just by changing the number, and hopefully all of your text fits. Absolutely perfect. And that's how we create and customize our drop-down menu using Enfold. Alright, let's add a contact page with a contact form on our new website. So let's go to Pages and add new page. And creating a contact form is actually super easy using Enfold. I'll show you how to do that. So let's add a new page called Contact. Use the advanced menu, the advanced builder. I'm going to do the usual and add a color section. And call it the contact page. Okay. Now I'm going to add a new color section. I want to make half of it a contact form, and perhaps another half of it some other contact information. So I've added two half columns. Now under the Content Elements section, I'm just looking for the Form module. And here it is here. So let's drag that in there, and let's start customizing our web form. And the beauty of this section here is you can actually preview what your contact form will look like. So let's say, yes, we want name, email, subject. Maybe we want to get rid of subject. We want to add telephone number and a message. So we can do that here, and we can also rearrange any of the elements just by doing that. By clicking on a particular field, for example, name, we can edit what that field is called. We can choose the type of input fields. For this, it's a simple text input as opposed to an area of text. And we can also choose whether there's any validation. For example, if it's not empty, the user cannot complete submitting the form unless it's filled in. So yes, we want to make sure that's filled in. Now let's say we only want that half width and click save. That will become half width. And let's go to email. The validation for that is that it's a valid email address, so someone just can't enter some gibberish in there and submit the form. Maybe we'll make that half width as well, so that it sits next to the name, as you can see there. Subject we'll get rid of. Let's add a couple of new fields. So the first one we'll add is perhaps phone number. We want that to be a text input. We want it to be a valid phone number, but sometimes if you're dealing with international customers, it may refuse to accept the phone number. So I like to leave mine as just not empty, so the user has the ability to enter their phone number in any format without being able to not submit the form. So just as long as it's not empty, I'm happy. We'll leave that as full width, okay. We'll drag that up above the message. We'll add one more field. Let's call it availability. Let's make that a date picker. Make sure that's not empty either. Force the user to fill that out. Click save and drag that up as well. So now for that, the user can actually select a date from a date picker, which you'll see in a second. For the message here, I can rename that to how can we help? Make sure that's not empty. We want the user to fill that out, and that's that. Now back to the top, this is the email address that the completed form will be sent to when it's submitted. So make sure that's your email address, and you'll be able to reply directly to the customer to the email address that they've entered here. You can rename the label. Now, do you want the form to display a short message when it's submitted? You can do that, and you can edit that message. Alternatively, you can redirect the user to another page on your website. Perhaps it's a thank you for filling out the form. In the meantime, here are some frequently asked questions. So perhaps it's another page on your website to redirect the user to after they've hit the submit button. So it's completely up to you how you want to do that. The email subject, make sure you enter that in, because when you receive a new message in your email inbox, it will have that subject. And you'll be easily able to identify what that email or where that email has come from. Now in this area here, you can add an autoresponder reply, which is when the person submits this message through your form, they'll receive an automatic email response to their email address that they've entered over here. That auto-response message will come from this email address that you enter here, and we'll have this text. It's just like a thank you for submitting our form. We will get back to you. It's a more formalized message after somebody fills out a form, just to acknowledge that you've received it. Whatever you want to enter there. Now the captcha. That is the thing that can validate a form so that you don't get spam, so you can prove it's a real human user. If you've really customized a form like I have here with phone number availability, you probably don't need a captcha because you're not going to get much spam through that form. But if you have a simple form such as enter your name, email, and message, you might get a bit of spam, so it's good to have a captcha. So that's completely up to you. Now let's click save and let's click publish. Here's what our contact page looks like at the moment. I'm going to fill out this form from a customer's point of view. Okay. There we go. There is that message that we customized. And now in my email inbox, here's what I've received. the person's details, their email address, the phone number, and any other details in that form. Now when I hit reply, you'll see that I'm able to reply directly to that customer's email address. Now, just one thing to remember also is that that customer will have automatically received this autoresponder email to the email address which they entered in their email inbox. So they've received acknowledgement of submitting that message. So that's how you create a form. After you've done that, you can of course enter some more contact information here if you would like to, such as alternate ways of contacting you for your business. And maybe even some sample text. There you go. You can also add perhaps a Google map for somebody to find you. You can go to Media Elements, and there's the Google map there. We can add that in that section there. Now if you click on that, there's a couple of things you need to do. Firstly, let's enter our address, and this would be your real business address. And to do that, you'll need to enter a valid Google Maps API key. And to do that, you'll have to actually read the information over here to add the Google map. And that will be configured and built into your Enfold theme and look very, very natural. But I'm going to do it a different way. And I'm going to pretend I'm entering my real business address. Then if I click on that share or embed a map, I'll be able to copy. Actually, first I can create a custom size. So I can preview that actual size. Perfect. Say I want it a little bit shorter. Let's make that 400. Okay. Now I can copy that HTML. So I'm going to copy that code that Google gives me. I'm going to go and instead of using this module, which you very much can do by the way, and I recommend it, I'm going to go to the text block. Now check this out. Instead of using the visual tab here, I'm going to use the text tab. And remember, the text tab is for any code that you need to enter. I'm going to paste that code into there and click save. And then hit update. And what that's allowed us to do is embed the Google Maps code to embed that particular map on our website. So I've updated that. Now let me just refresh the page to see what that looks like. I think that's absolutely perfect. A customer can actually look at that map, scroll in, scroll out, and find your exact place of business. Of course, you will be entering your exact business address here, so they'll be able to pinpoint exactly where you are. And to edit that, for example, if you want to edit the size and make it a bit taller, you can do that. All you need to do is go to Google again, enter perhaps, let me use a real address, Santa Monica Boulevard. Okay, let's embed that. Previously I had a custom size with a height of 400. Now I'm going to try 500. So it will look something like that. Perfect. Now let's copy that HTML. Let's go to the text tab, delete all of that, paste the new contents of that code, update the page, and now let's refresh. So there we are. With the few clicks of the button, we've been able to create a fully functional contact page with a contact form, some contact information, and even a Google map where customers can zoom in, zoom out, and find your exact place of business. The last thing you'll probably want to do with the contact page is just add that to the menu. And the way to do that, of course, is go to Appearance, go to Menus. And now you'll see the contact page available. Let's add that to the menu. Let's push it up in front of the Start Now button that we've got. Save that. So now when a user goes to your website, they can easily navigate to your contact page. So I hope we've made it easy for you to make a WordPress website using the Enfold WordPress theme. If you've learned anything in this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because you'll be the first to know when we release another awesome WordPress website tutorial. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.